Studies clearly illustrate that investing in women-led companies is great for business for investors. Yet, the biggest chokehold in venture capital continues to be, oh yeah, gender injustice. Our guest believes her platform of unbiased algorithms can level the playing field and NVC gender injustice. Oh boy, buckle up, everyone. This is going to be a really delicious conversation because, hey, it's Fab Female Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show. Let's glow. Woohoo! Time for music and dancing, everyone. Hello and welcome everyone to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, 4 times founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, let me tell you, I know firsthand what you all are going through, launching and branding and building your startup. And one of the best ways to up your founder game is to hear other founder startup stories. So thank you for carving out time to tune in and up your founder game while cheering on a fellow founder. And if you're joining us live or via replay, be sure to like the video that you're watching right now. And thank you for sharing your love everywhere you glow because it helps us reach more people. And if you're tuning in from YouTube and haven't done so already, please share your subscribe love and a click on the bell icon to receive an alert whenever I post a new video. And if you resonate with the show's mission of amplifying diverse founder voices while serving first-time founders around the world, please reach out to me to learn more about how you can make a greater impact in the startup ecosystem through sponsoring and partnering with the Startup Life Live Show. Links will be in the show notes. And hey, there's another great way and another great community for you to join to receive an alert whenever I post a new show. And it's the Startup Life Live Meetup group. And this way you'll always know how you can join us, whether it's on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. All the links are always there to help you stay tuned in. So let me tell you all about our amazing guest today, all the way from Switzerland. I'm just telling you right now, we have the amazing XJ Chen. She's an award-winning business and technology hybrid angel investor and the founder and CEO of VenturePole, a Swiss-based AI-powered venture investment platform. XJ and Team VenturePole are proving that AI can transform sourcing and screening from an investor's pack mentality to funding more female founders who build better products and services and create higher returns. We are going to learn so much from our phenomenal Fab Female Founder guest today. Let's bring her into the room. Welcome, XJ.
Thank you for having me, Ande. It's a pleasure to meet your community.
Oh, we are so happy to have you here because I can tell you there's a whole bunch of female founders and folks who support female founders who are very passionate about what you're trying to do. Because XJ, as you know from your own personal experience, we'll get into your story quickly, is that we continue to hear year after year, only 2% of this huge market is going to women, and even lower for our women of color. So we're going to dive deep into that. But before we get going, tell us where you're hanging from today.
I'm based in Zurich, Switzerland. I've been here for 8 years. I did my PhD here.
Oh, wonderful. I want to remind everybody who's tuning in to please remember, we love to amplify your brand. And these videos get hundreds of views across all the channels and much more on my YouTube channel. So take a moment to amplify your brand. Share your business name, your one-liner, and your URL. I'll pop it up here on the screen, and XJ and I will cheer and clap for you for having the courage to bring your vision to reality. So, and also remember to please share comments, pop questions, join the conversation. We want to hear from you and share with you. And that level of spontaneity, of course, makes the conversation even more interesting because we're getting your viewpoint and how you're impacted by finding funding for your business. Okay, so let's just start off first, XJ. You were cruising the world, you were having adventures in other areas professionally, and as you said, earning your PhD. What compelled you and what called you to launch VenturePole and become an entrepreneur? And had you had any exposure to entrepreneurship before?
Yeah, so I was born in Taiwan. I grew up in Michigan, went to school outside of Chicago, and then I was a management consultant in Hong Kong for a while. And in 2016, I started angel investing, and I immediately found it to be super manual and cumbersome.
Wait. Let me just ask a quick question, XJ.
Sure.
What called you to become an angel investor?
Well, I was really excited about this promise the blockchain technology was delivering, right?
Yep.
Democratizing wealth, banking the unbanked. I really like that. And so I started to look at blockchain companies, projects, and I started investing, and then that grew into other industries.
So there you go. And so you were ready to, did you join an angel group or is that how you did? Or you knew someone was raising money and you were ready to write a check?
Yeah, I went to I visited several angel investor clubs here in Switzerland, and I joined sessions, pitches, competitions, and I soon first of all I learned two things very quickly. The first one is angel investing is very manual and cumbersome, and it is almost completely subjected to human bias. The second thing I learned was that the most value that's going to be created for investors is on the top part of the funnel, meaning the sourcing and the screening. And so then who's doing it for angels? We either do it ourselves or we join in a club and then we follow lead investors. But then there's something that I don't quite like about following lead investors is this herd mentality. Lead investors, whom I know here in Switzerland, are almost all men.
Yeah.
And so we were constantly looking at an all male founder team, whom I just all white male, whom I don't. It's whom I rather diversify my portfolio.
Sure.
More.
So they were obviously doing matching and you were like, well, wait a minute. I know from being at these pitch events and seeing folks out in my community, in the startup community, that there's plenty of diverse founders, female founders, BIPOC, LGBTQ founders that are really rocking it. How come these lead investors aren't investing in them, right?
Right. How come we don't get to see those projects, those deals?
Yeah.
How come our deals are pretty homogenous? And so this is when I looked around for some good tools, resources, and I couldn't really find one that was smart. So I went.
And when you say smart, you meant having, a filter, having a way to process using tools. Yes.
Yes. Less. Yes. More intelligence, but from unbiased artificial intelligence.
Yes, agree 100%. And so, had you had experience in technology before?
Yes. So I've built stuff at 13 hackathons. I'm an avid hackathon goer. There aren't that many now because of COVID. And I also received a scholarship from Google to learn. That's how I started programming. I received a scholarship from Google to learn programming. And then I took many courses at the University of Zurich, where I did my PhD in programming and data science and data visualization, all that fun stuff.
What did you get your PhD in?
At the University of Zurich in organizational studies, aka management.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And I love 13 hackathons. Come on, these are the little things we don't know about folks, right? When they show up.
Yeah, I slept with, I've slept with almost 200 men in one big gymnasium. I did that.
Not many women can say that. Hey, I slept with 200 men. Okay. Yeah. But that's true. And we have a phenomenal female hackathon here here in Boston, led by the amazing Fiona Wilkinson. It's called Tech Connect, and it is all young women doing the hackathons. It's, again, COVID has changed that for a lot of folks, but you learned a lot from that. So as you were watching, I'm just going to imagine this. So I'm going to ask you, while you were watching and starting to invest and watching how everything happened, you were probably filtering in your brain like, whoa, this is no way to be investing. There's got to be a different way. And given your deep understanding of machine learning and artificial intelligence and algorithms, I'm thinking that smarty pants brain of yours was going, I bet I can connect the dots in a much better way.
Yes, and have a better investment thesis, because we can make high returns, but also make a good impact.
Yes. And how did you start diving into female founders and getting wise yourself? And did it happen to have come together at the same time that you were launching VenturePole? I mean, and I'm just so curious. Like, how did you come up with the name VenturePole? When did you decide to put your stake in the ground and say, I'm going to solve this problem?
Everything really changed. I mean, the perspective really changed when I started fundraising myself. When I was looking at the deals with the clubs, I just had this inkling that this isn't what I want. But then when I started fundraising, oh boy, the reality really kicked in.
It's a slap in the face, isn't it? It's like someone throws ice water in your face.
Absolutely. And then I really got firsthand personal experience on how difficult it is for female founders to raise, how difficult it is for non-white female founders to raise. The lack of the lack of acknowledgement we get, the lack of credit we get,
right?
And so it took me double the number of meetings with investors than the average meetings it took to close the C round. On average, it's 36 meetings. It took me almost 80 meetings with investors, and
almost 3 times as much.
And I was only able to close a quarter of the average seed round, which is 2 million.
Yeah.
I only closed $500,000. And but I'm a tech business hybrid, which is top founder material, if I may say so.
Yeah, no, that's a strong founder market fit.
So every time when I'm pitching, every time I'm in a competition with other founders, every time I'm in an accelerator, I never felt what we were doing or me as a founder were inferior than the other founders. But I was always the only female founder in all startup competitions I've ever been to, in all of accelerator programs that we've taken part, and we've been in 3.
Wow.
So this
female
is
tech founders, you know what she's talking about. And speaking of female tech founders, one of my favorite right here, Lauren Fitzpatrick Shanks, who is the founder of Keep Wondering Out Loud, can totally relate. And she says, especially for non-white female founders, and you don't truly understand until you're doing it, right? XJ, I mean, you just wake up and you're like, what is going on here? And Lauren, I just want to tell you, I shared this on the last show too. XJ, Lauren did a Facebook story, Instagram story about how she spent 4 months or so tweaking her pitch deck and her numbers rather than make phone calls to investors. And then finally, January, she hit the ground running, and wow, everybody was pretty much saying, yes, I'd be happy to meet with you. Yes, I'd be happy to meet with you. So founders out there, you've got to make those calls. But what we just learned from XJ was that it took 80 meetings versus the average of 32 that white males have to secure her seed funding. And, female founders around the world, that fundraising is just such a challenge. And then we hear this lovely myth, right, XJ, about there's a shortage of female founders. And talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I talked to fellow investors, right, and I'm asking, how many female-led deals have you invested in? And I have never heard any investor tell me that their portfolio is 10% more female-led.
Wow.
And I've and I ask, well, why aren't we getting more female-led deals? Why aren't we looking at more female-led startups?
Right.
And the answer is almost always, well, because there aren't that many female founders. We just can't find them. They're just not tech enough.
Oh boy, here we go. Can we just have a big eye roll all together right now?
They're all doing nails.
Yeah.
And it's a Spanish institutional investor really told me this. Female founders are doing more low return, not scalable business, like nail salons. And that just doesn't make sense. And so I did some research. Yeah. And I found this 2019 Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report. They're this very big nonprofit academic association who's dedicated to study entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. And they published this global report in 2019, which showed that for every 4 male founders, there are 3 female founders doing exactly the same, building a business. So there is no female founder shortage. That is a total myth. We have plenty of badass lady bosses.
Absolutely, there is. And, I just want to say a quick hi to our phenomenal friend from Ottawa, Canada. It's the wonderful Brent Manuel, and he's sending love and cold weather to us here in Boston from Ottawa, Canada, and saying hi to XJ and sent also TGIF. But he asks a really good question, XJ, which for those of you who don't know, what is a hackathon?
It's. I hope I haven't misled you with my anecdote, but it's basically this really big event. It's usually a weekend. It's usually over the weekend, starting from Friday evening all the way until Sunday afternoon, and it's basically people getting together to build stuff, and it's usually tech stuff. So we're mainly prototyping, coding.
And why are they happily doing this all weekend?
Well, one, because programmers and coders are often nerds and and geeks and nerds, and we don't get out that often, and it's always nice when we can go out and meet 200 other geeks and nerds. It's always cool. And two, there's swagger in showing off what you can do, right? I mean, because you code for money, but it's different when you're
Right.
coding for fun. Then you really like it, and you're learning, and you're just building whatever you want.
Thank you for that little segue. My son, our youngest son, is game design college grad, and same thing. He loves to sit beside people and code and have a good time, and they're yakking and convening. It's just delicious. So back to the mythologies of female founders, and putting our eyes firmly on the fact that, and it's even worse in 2021, less than 2% of what's being invested out there is going to female founders, and even a much smaller slice is going to women of color. Okay. And the more diverse groups, non-white female founders. And I really love Lauren's question here. You want to read that for me, XJ? On the screen there?
Yeah, all the myths. There's a pipeline problem. There's a shortage of minority founders. It's like they have a book of typical responses that hopefully will stop someone from asking them more questions. In one word, infuriating. Totally agreed.
That's a great comment, Lauren. Everybody reading that, who's watching this via the replay too, very important. And we wonder why that is. So when you launched VenturePole, you're bringing to your platform the experience, what it's like to be the only female tech founder among all these male founders, noticing the different questions. There's proactive versus protective questions. So usually the males are getting asked, you're going to succeed. How are you going to manage all of that? Versus asking the women, what are you going to do if this happens? So, share some of those stories and why you came to launch VenturePole from this experience. What parts and pieces, because you were a finalist pitching to an all male judging panel, and you were the only female. So you've lived and breathed this, XJ.
Yes, this was a national, a Swiss national startup competition, and it was a all white male jury. There were experienced investors, institutional investors, representative from angel clubs, industry leaders, and there were about 10 of them. And so after my pitch, it's Q&A time, and one of the juror asked me, how do you verify the traction that you claimed in your pitch? And
Hold on.
And I was, I remained a poker face, but then I was really stunned. I was really stunned because he's basically challenging my credibility in front of everyone. And but I don't know this man, so I couldn't, and I was rummaging through my mind, like, why? But okay, and then I answered with with a poker face. Our everything that we everything that's in our pitch deck, you can find on our website, and we're absolutely open for due diligence.
Yeah.
That said, this experience has really, again, driven me back to research. And then I found this research by Columbia University, and they found that investors ask male founders promotional questions like, how will you acquire new customers? They ask women founders preventional questions like, how will you retain existing customers? And I think this is a tip for all founders, is to keep in mind that just because you're asked about existing customers doesn't mean that you shouldn't talk about your customer acquisition ambition.
Right. Right. It's really a great piece of advice, folks, that when you get really an eye-rolling, boneheaded question, for example, in Visiware, I'm wearing one of their safety piece jewelries right here. I have a female founder. One guy asked her in an all-white male panel, MIT, why do women need a safety device? I mean, you can click this thing twice and it goes to first responders if you're in trouble. All right. It's an amazing product. But why would you need that as a woman? Can you imagine having a male being so out of touch and not understand why women need safety? These are the kind of questions that are really, really tough. But even when you're aghast, as you were when he was asking about, I don't believe that you have traction, basically, and you come back to the vision, everybody, come back and go, I hear what you're saying, and here's what we've done, and here's what's happening, and share that vision and keep that passion and excitement, and try to sort of compartmentalize instead of bitch slapping them, which is, sometimes what we all want to do. Hi, Allison. Allison, folks, is the founder of Scroobious. She helps diverse founders create video pitches and also help them with their pitches. A phenomenal platform. I highly recommend everybody hop on over to Scroobious. I'll have the links in the show notes because Allison is changing lives for founders everywhere while connecting them, democratizing investment opportunities as well with her platform. And she says, thank you, XJ, for your emotional transparency. So many of us can relate firsthand to your experience. And she's saying, yes, Dana Can's research is fantastic. And she shares the link. I will put it in the show notes, folks. Okay. Phenomenal TED Talk with all of Dana's research is amazing. And I have to say too, XJ, you have done phenomenal research. You have been written up in Forbes and so many other articles and other major media platforms with your talking about this challenge, which is what really became your North Star, your passionate why, and why you wanted to change this. So what I'd love to do right now is just show everybody real quickly how VenturePole works. And then we'll get into more questions about the platform. Okay, we have a 1-minute video here, a little over 1-minute video of how the platform works. So I'm going to go ahead and...
Hi, I'm Xiao Jean Chen, the CEO of VenturePole. VenturePole is an investment platform. Sign up to use our investment readiness tools for free. This is how your company looks like to investors on our platform. This company overview is generated based on 35 questions you answer when signing up. It helps you structure your round. Investors can book a meeting, bookmark to follow your progress even after making an investment. Our investment risk rating uses machine learning to predict company survival. It compares your company with similar companies in our global database. Upload your deck and video. Our valuation calculator uses 5 valuation methods and selects 3 methods for an objective valuation range. Company strength and weakness analysis shows where you shine in areas that your investors can help you grow. We standardize due diligence with questions most frequently asked by investors. You can directly communicate with your investors. You can even remove them so you have total control. You get 30-day free access to our investors. Reach out if you want a longer free trial. Let's make fundraising easier and faster.
Hooray! This is wonderful. You just make it very easy for people to put it in, and there's no bias involved. How long did it take you to create this?
The idea and the idea creation of VenturePole really started in 2018, and in 2019 we started prototyping. I got engineers, data scientists, and we started prototyping. We started acquiring data sets, started playing with machine learning. And it took us more than 8 months to clean the data, pre-process the data, process the data, test and iterate, also code the script, test and iterate,
Yep.
rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. Yep.
Until we had an algorithm that was making good predictions. So the algorithm the investment risk rating algorithm predicts startup survival. That's what it does.
How does that work?
So first of all, we needed to get data sets, and so we merged 3 data sets. One is Crunchbase, arguably the largest business intelligence data set on the planet.
For sure.
AngelList, which is a startup dedicated data set, and then a European one, and we merged all 3. So now we have data from over 600,000 companies, and many of them we already know that has either closed or made an exit. They got bought out, or they went public. So this was our training data set.
Sure.
And then we tested the algorithm. We fed the algorithm company data, and the algorithm would predict whether or not the companies closed or survived. And then because we have chronological data, so we already know which companies closed, and then so we were able to see performance of the predictions.
That's wonderful. Wow. And so, and in the fundraising cycle, how were you able to do some of this bootstrapping on your own, and then you got some seed funding?
Yes. So our pre-seed was self-financed. So I'm the pre-seed investor, and then
sounds familiar.
But I'll be honest, it's really hard to get on our payroll. My goal is not to build a corporate or a conglomerate, that's not my goal. My goal is to have an agile, nimble team that can change the world.
Right.
And I'd rather not spend all of my time managing people. So if you need to be managed, you don't belong on our team.
There you go. Everybody's got to pull their own weight. I say that to the plants and my cats, actually. Now, and another question I have is because we talk gender bias all the time, but you are the first one I've ever seen that put it even in deeper clarity for everybody. and calling it as it is, gender injustice. Why were you so bold to say that instead of gender bias?
I'm annoyed by this confusion between equality, equity, and justice. And that's why I will always revert to the term gender injustice, because that's what it is. When we talk about equality, we see this illustration and where there are two people, and the woman is shorter and the man is higher, and then we give them the same height stools so that they can see over the fence. And that's equality, right? Same height of stools, and then that's equality. Now, equity is okay. We give the woman a higher stool. This is equity, but justice is really giving women the same opportunities to grow as tall as men, because we're just as capable. This is justice. And this is why I have researched and written extensively, published articles in Forbes and Hacker Noon and various other media outlets on this topic.
Yeah. It's so important. And I just love that you brought it to the fact that there is not a justice-based process, that it is unequal. And, and I've had this conversation with Allison several times, and she's written some wonderful posts on LinkedIn. Everybody, please go follow Allison and check out all wonderful articles she's written on this, because recently she was asked to join an angel group that was investing in a company. And when she did her due diligence, she saw that it was an all white male run company, and all the advisors were men. And she's like, oh, hell no, I'm not coming in. And even though she knew it was a great deal, she was definitely going to get her money back several times over, and she was joining a great group of other investors on this deal, she said, no, there are no women involved here. I have to walk my talk. And so this is what has to happen. The Boston is the home of venture capital, folks. So we have plenty of examples of people writing thoughtful posts and articles about, we really do need to be better at this and doing better at this. And gosh darn it, we're going to. Well, I know Allison has created a bit of a scorecard. That's what we need. We need to say, okay, on this date, you said we're going to do better. And wow, look at this, 12 months later, zip, you haven't done better. And the beauty of what you're doing with VenturePole is you're saying, you know what, I'm going to remove all gender, all color from your decision. And you are going to base your decision based on the real important criteria. Because you've created the medium. What is it when you have I don't know the word for it, but you have the base of what a good company that succeeds does. And you've put a whole bunch of them into the algorithm. How are you getting investors to come to the site and start using it? And how are you bringing in founders to put their deal up?
It's really easy because our value proposition is clear. For investors, we help them make higher returns. It's as easy as that, because we know female founders and diverse teams are 63% more profitable. And in year 2020, female founders' exit value went up 30%, while male-led exit value dropped 44%. And I love spewing out these figures because it's just, you can't argue with facts.
Yeah, you can't.
Then why aren't investors investing in female-led ventures? it makes us more money.
Yeah.
And so I really wish when you were talking about Allison, I really wish we had, Allison refusing refusing a deal. I really wish we had more women with check writing power sitting in decision-making roles in VC firms, in angel clubs, because in the US, we know that only 2% of investment decision-making roles are women in VC firms and angel clubs.
Well, we know this, and we know there was a thread on Twitter that I shared with you where a woman said, forget the men not investing. I'm running into problems with the women not investing. And even though we have this great flow of activity of female funders wanting to invest in female founders, there's a lot of pushback on that, right, XJ?
I think this is clear. If you're a woman, you should be helping women. Period. It's as simple as that. But we also have to keep in mind that there really aren't that many GPs with check writing partners.
Yep.
Who get to decide who decides at the end of the day who to invest.
Yes.
They're mostly men.
Right. And this is important what you're saying. I want everybody to take this in. You have to understand there can be a bunch of women part of the venture fund that they're in. But who's writing the check? Who can sign the check, wire it in, sit down with the attorneys? Now, it is the lead investor, the general partner that does that. And that's still not where women are, right?
They're 98% men in the US.
So
don't be deterred when you reach out to a female VC and you don't get through the door, or you get through the door, but you don't actually get a check, because we need more leaders. We need more female leaders.
Yes, and a shout out to 360 Ventures, who are 3 women who will be writing the checks. Shout out to, of course, Backstage Capital, Arlen Hamilton, phenomenal. Shout out to All Raves, who helps women founders find those female funders who can write checks. And we still need to keep holding everybody's feet to the fire on this issue of funding female founders. I so appreciate your viewpoint and your deep understanding of this challenge. But more importantly, I'm a solutionist. Most founders are solutionists. I love that you are saying, okay, enough talking about the problem. I'm into solving it. And here's how. I'm going to put the banner up here, and I'll have this in the show notes as well, everybody. You can, I'm going to have to fix that. Hold on. That banner has a typo in it. This is what's great. Live video. Boom, boom. Fixed. Done. XJ has provided us with a promo code, so you can get a whole year free on her website. Use my name, Ande, capital A, lowercase NDE, to get your free year at VenturePole. Thank you for your generosity.
We appreciate you, Ande.
Yes. No, I'm going to be sharing this far and wide, because founders, you want to get to a place where you're not being judged by the color of your skin or the sweet smile on your face or the outfit you're wearing. I mean, women are objectified all the time. And so you want to be judged by what you have created, your ability to drive business and drive a return on the investor's investment. So that is what we're talking about leveling the playing field. So I am just so thrilled that you've created this phenomenal platform, VenturePole. What has been, as you've been building your business and over the years, I love sharing a founder's favorite resource or tool or book that really helped them along the way. What is one of yours, XJ?
We launched the platform in January 2020. And then in March, COVID really hit Europe.
Slammed.
So then all business development, all development was basically
Stopped.
no, yeah,
Full stop.
no investors were investing. We hear some people building new startups, but there was this silence.
Yeah.
And
Crickets.
but I just launched a business, and so then after the panic and all that, I went back to I read Peter Thiel's From Zero to One, and went back to the drawing board and revised our go-to-market strategies, revised our budgeting, and we said, okay, so we were really ambitious in 2019 about marketing. We wanted to do mass marketing, but then in 2020 we then decided, okay, no, we really need a laser focused go-to-market strategy, and then we decided to target accelerators, because their investors, they often invest in the startups that get into their programs, and they pre-vet startups. And so we partnered with international accelerators, for example, Startup Bootcamp, the biggest accelerator here in Europe. And we helped them screen startups, do diligence, and manage portfolio companies. And it's very clear for them that it's not even about diversity quota, or it's none of that. It's just our tools automate and optimize their workflow.
Yep.
It allows them to do things easier. And for startups, we help founders get investment ready. For example, our valuation I'm a mentor at Startup Bootcamp, and the most frequent question I get is, can you help me with our valuation? Because most founders don't have a financial background. They don't have a MBA.
Right.
And so how do we negotiate valuation? And so then I checked out all valuation calculators I can find, and didn't find a good one, so built one ourselves. And so our valuation calculator doesn't give a figure, because it doesn't really make sense, because for early stage startups, valuation is an art. You're negotiating, so we give a range, and this gives you a good idea, and it assists you on the negotiation table.
Right. That's wonderful. Oh my gosh. So you shifted. So by reading Peter Thiel's book, you shifted your focus on partnering, and you were able to partner with the largest accelerator program, Startup Bootcamp in Europe, which is wonderful. And I'm sure that gave you a ton more data to talk about. Yes?
Yes. So we're building our own database where we collect information on diversity. So we were asking in our team due diligence questionnaire, we ask how many, what's the ratio of your team that's women, non-white, LGBTQ, over 50s, and disabled. So we collect diversity data so that we can have a diversity score to help investors who just like Allison and you and I, who want to make a positive impact. We can do that.
Yep. And you're putting the best tools to work: algorithms, artificial intelligence, machine learning, so that you're taking what you call the herd mentality and the inherent bias that comes from the check writers, and you're removing that and you're focusing on what makes a business have the potential to be successful. It's brilliant. You've been on this entrepreneurship journey now since you launched in what year, VenturePole?
Well, we incorporated in 2020, but in 2019, we were already building.
Excellent. So you've been in this entrepreneurship space for a while, even though you were investing it, you were on salary. Now you have had your experience as a founder. How has this entrepreneurship journey, this founderhood time, served you, XJ, both personally and professionally?
It's definitely made me more human because I don't have kids, but I imagine it's similar. VenturePole is my baby. And there were sleepless nights where I really doubted myself. And there were nights where there was this despair and why am I doing this?
Right.
What? Because I had this career in consulting, and it was secure and it was paying good. Like, why am I doing this? And so it gives me more compassion and empathy for people who's also building stuff, people who's trying to change the world, people who's decided to take a different path. And it also taught me that it's really important to have to be on a mission. You really need to know why you're doing this, because entrepreneurship is everything but rainbows and lollipops, and crap will hit the fan. And it's like a lot of times I feel like I'm on firefighter mode. And it's important to have that North Star, knowing why you get up every morning and get back to it.
Yeah. I'm feeling a stitch that on a pillow moment, everybody. Entrepreneurship is not all rainbows and lollipops. 100%. This is why you have to be so clear about your love of the problem and the people you're solving the problem for, even more than your solution. You have to be in love with the why. That's the problem and the folks who you're solving it for. And that's what XJ just kindly shared. Oh my gosh. What final thoughts do you have before I pop you into the green room that you'd like to share with the Startup Life Live community? Anyway, we can add wind to your sail. Any last thoughts for folks?
I think, again, I really appreciate and respect what you do, Ande, and feel very happy and honored to be a part of the community. So if you're a founder, use our investment readiness tools. They're free. And also get 12 months free access to our investors. And if you're a founder and you're building a team, you're looking for co-founders. My experience was when I started in 2019, I had two fellow female co-founders. One was an ex-Apple engineer. One was a PwC analyst. So I really recruited top tier talent to build this business with me. But then after 6 months, they left, and that took a toll on me. I
bet it did.
I was really frustrated and sad, and doubted myself, like,
Yeah.
why? We're doing this great thing. But and I'm still very good friends with one of them. But my point is that to go back to what I said earlier, entrepreneurship is not rainbows and lollipops. It's not for everyone.
Right.
It's not for everyone, and it's okay if people decide, if people call it quits and decide it's not for them, because
Absolutely.
this roller coaster ride, it's crazy. Like you and I know it's crazy, and sometimes people are not ready for it. Or it's just not the right time. For example, for one of my ex co-founder, her dad had cancer, and so she had to pay his medical bills and could not work on
Yeah, oh,
VenturePole full time.
absolutely. You don't want that stress in your life, folks. It's okay to say no. And people don't talk about this enough. Folks, you're not giving up on your dream. You're just delaying it. You're postponing it. If in fact you really do want to be a founder, or you pulled on your entrepreneurship thread and said, oh, I thought this would be a good fit for me, but it's not. But I can bring entrepreneurship to a company. I can be innovative inside a company because it feels better for me. It feels better because I'm providing for my family, et cetera. So don't get caught up in the mythology of entrepreneurship. If really listen to your heart, if it's too much of a struggle, because again, as I said, we focus so much on the don't give up, burn all the ships. No, know your dip. Seth Godin, who's written so many wonderful books, he wrote the book, The Dip. Read it, because that's about saying, okay, what are the circumstances and conditions that I will no longer continue on this journey? Okay. And then you hang out there until those conditions arrive because you've set that up ahead of time. Quick question from Lauren. She's saying the Ande referral code is not working. So
you automatically get 30 days for free when you sign up, and then you use the promo code after that expired.
Okay. And it's again capital A, lowercase a, NDE. Okay. I'll have it in the show notes.
And can I
yes.
add to what you just said?
Yes.
And don't be deterred if you are a solopreneur, because Jeff Bezos built Amazon pretty much by himself. But Jack Ma built Alibaba with 18 co-founders. So as an investor, of course, we know that, okay, 3 is the according to research, 3 is the golden number you want for co-founders. But it's not a one size fit all.
Right. Absolutely. Hey, thanks for your kind feedback, Volaroy. He says, thanks for the excellent session. It's very beneficial. Thank you for tuning in on from the YouTube channel. And so Lauren, just to clarify, you're automatically going to get the 30 days when that 30 day comes up. And if your memory as a mother of 2 young children and a founder of a business that's soaring can remember, well, just put in the Ande there. Not going to forget me. And put that into the format, however it comes out from VenturePole, so you can continue with the free 1-year version. Folks, I'll keep that clarified in the show notes. My gosh, thank you so much. I met XJ on Twitter, and I just loved her view of the world. And so, XJ, I'm so happy that you said yes when I reached out to you and said, would you please come and share your startup stories and share VenturePole and your view of the world? Because, all walks of life are trying to solve this problem, and you bring your unique energy and purpose and passion and understanding to what you're doing. That's what's making you uniquely qualified to be the fab female founder of VenturePole. And I know that you're in it to win it, and that you will continue to partner and get the word out about your phenomenal platform so that we can end gender injustice. It's so, so important. And you are very welcome, Lauren. Lauren is saying, thank you, Ande and Xiao Jean. Amazing episode, so insightful and helpful. Oh, Lauren, I'm wishing you tremendous luck. Everybody's got to go to WOL. All right. Wondering Out Loud, a phenomenal platform that is helping organizations build better teams and have greater communication. It's right up your PhD alley, XJ, when it comes to organizations. And thank you, Tim. Thank you so much. Tim Tesh says, thank you very much for this session. Story of a great journey and the larger journey to justice. Stay safe in the snow. Oh, thank you so much, Tim. Yeah, we're getting a couple of feet. We haven't had a wicked big storm in a while. Been about 4 years. So we're ready to get hunkered down, get the generator ready to roll, and have a great snowstorm. XJ, thank you, thank you, thank you. It'll be so much fun sharing your wisdom and your insights in VenturePole everywhere I glow.
Yes, let's connect on Twitter, LinkedIn. Always a pleasure to connect to fellow founders.
Excellent.
And
I'm going to
investors.
Yes, absolutely. We love you, investors. And I'm going to pop you into the green room and wrap up here. We always learn so much from the founders, right? And the stories they've gone through and what XJ went through pitching and raising funds and learning how important her algorithms, her platform is to dissolve the chokeholds that venture capital is having right now on investing in female founders. Okay. So speaking of investing, let me share with you who's coming up on the Startup Life Live show on Tuesday. Oh my gosh. Tuesday, February 1st at 12 p.m. ET. Our guest, Kevin Withane from the UK, folks, is sharing how he's turning his passion for purpose-driven startups that make the world a better place. And he's doing it via a venture fund. He's the founder of Diversity X, a pre-seed to seed stage venture capital fund. It's in the works. He's raising the fund right now to support UK and European-based underestimated founders of purpose-led startups and tech startups focused on solving issues around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you know what you have to do so that you can get an alert whenever I post a new show. Please hop on over to Meetup and join the Startup Life Live Meetup group. That way you can be in the loop to watch live or later. So I really love all of your participation. And hey guys, I'm only 100 subscribers away from reaching 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And you know, speaking of algorithms, YouTube adds more wind to the sails when you subscribe, have over 1,000 subscribers. Their algorithms say, okay, we're going to give this channel a lift. And you know, what we share here in the Startup Life Live show has an impact on all those pockets around the world of entrepreneurship that don't have the rich resources that we have here in Boston or San Francisco or in London or Zurich. And so thank you all for your support. Before I log off, I want to remind you, okay, please remember these words, which is that you're braver than you believe, okay? And you are stronger than you seem. And as we say here in Boston, you're wicked smarter than you think. You really do have this. Congratulations. I am just cheering you on wildly and wishing you a delicious day wherever you're going. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Share the love. Come say hi on social media with me, okay? Until then, I'll see you next time.